exhausted, surrounded by chaos. Yet Jungkook bowed like the world was watching. The airport was already loud before the doors even opened. Cameras lifted. Phones trembled in the air. Security voices overlapped with the echo of footsteps rushing across polished floors. Incheon International Airport had seen countless celebrity arrivals before, but this night felt different. It felt heavier, hotter, almost breathless. BTS were coming home from Lisbon, a nonstop journey stretching close to 15 hours. 15 hours inside a metal cabin, crossing time zones, battling fatigue, carrying the invisible weight of schedules, expectations, and the massive anticipation surrounding their upcoming project, ARIRANG. Anyone would understand if they walked fast, if they kept their heads down, if they saved whatever energy they had left. But the moment the arrival gate opened, the wave hit. Thousands of fans, dozens of reporters, flashes exploding like lightning. Names screamed from every direction. For a split second, everything blurred into movement and noise. And then one figure slowed down. Jungkook. While the crowd surged forward and security struggled to carve out a path, he did something almost impossible in that madness. He paused. Not because he had to. Not because a camera demanded it. He stopped because someone called his name. And that was the beginning of a moment the internet would soon replay again and again. The moment people would say reminded them why respect can shine brighter than fame. Because what he did next, in the middle of exhaustion and chaos, would travel far beyond that airport. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. Videos began appearing online within minutes. Different angles, different voices screaming, different shakes of the camera. But they all captured the same thing. Jungkook bending down. Not a quick nod, not a half gesture, a full, deep, 90-degree bow. You could see the tiredness written across his face. Eyes slightly swollen from the long flight. Steps slower than usual. Shoulders carrying the reality of a packed overseas schedule and intense filming. Yet every time he heard Jungkook, every time a voice broke through the noise, he turned. A small smile. Soft. Gentle. Almost apologetic that he couldn't stay longer. And down he went again. To the fans. To the media. To airport staff. To anyone who stood there waiting for even a second of acknowledgement. It didn't feel rehearsed. It didn't feel performed. It felt personal. As if, in that overwhelming crowd, he was trying to greet each person individually. Security urged him forward, but gratitude kept pulling him back. Online, the reaction was immediate. A fan wrote that he never seems to run out of energy to show respect. Another said the world must be shocked watching someone remain that humble at the very top. Retweets multiplied by the second. Hearts stacked into the tens of thousands. But the most powerful part? The bows didn't stop. Even when he was finally guided toward the waiting black van. Even when the door slid open. Even when relief should have arrived. He looked back. And through the window, he bowed again. Small. Brief. But unmistakable. As if he needed to make sure no one went home feeling unseen. And that tiny movement, it became enormous. Because sometimes the quietest gestures create the loudest impact. As clips kept looping across timelines, emotions inside the fandom rose like a tide. People compared frames, zoomed into expressions, replayed the way he kept stopping. Some noticed how exhausted the other members looked, and worry spread instantly. Long flights are brutal. Schedules abroad are relentless. Bodies have limits. Yet there he was, still offering respect again and again. Comments poured in. They called him a role model. They called his heart golden. They said humility like that cannot be taught once fame becomes overwhelming. And in the middle of admiration, there was also something else. Protectiveness. Because while many were touched, others looked at the same videos and felt pain. They saw how tight the crowd was. How difficult it must have been to breathe. How security had to fight for every step forward. Some described it as frightening. Too intense. Too invasive. They argued idols deserve space. That love should not turn into pressure. Yet even within that debate, Jungkook's choice stood firm. No frustration on his face. No visible irritation. Only appreciation. It created a strange mix of warmth and ache. Warmth, because he is who he is. Ache, because someone that kind might carry more than he should. And maybe that is why the moment hit deeper than a simple airport arrival. It wasn't just about manners. It was about character revealed under stress. When tired. When crowded. When overwhelmed. Who are you in that instant? For millions watching, Jungkook answered without speaking. There is something symbolic about airports in idol life. They are in-between places. Not stage. Not home. A space where glamour disappears and reality shows through jet lag, messy hair, swollen eyes, hurried steps. No choreography. No spotlight designed for perfection. Only raw moments. And in those unscripted seconds, truth becomes visible. BTS had just completed crucial filming in Portugal for a comeback the entire industry is waiting for. Pressure must be enormous. Expectations sky high. Every move they make will be analyzed. Every hint will be magnified. Returning to Korea should have meant rest. A chance to breathe. Instead, another storm waited at the gate. Yet Jungkook responded to that storm with courtesy. Not once, but repeatedly. It reminded many fans of something they often say about him. Talent made him famous, but heart made him unforgettable. The nickname Golden Magne suddenly felt bigger than skills or achievements. Golden because he shines. Golden because he values people. The world watching might be surprised, calling it extraordinary. But ARMY? They recognized it instantly. This is the young man who thanks staff at award shows, who bows to seniors, who remembers to turn around even when leaving. Consistency like that is powerful. It builds trust. It builds connection. It tells supporters that their presence matters, not just their cheers. And maybe that is why the clips refuse to fade. Because in an era where speed dominates everything, he chose to slow down, even if only for a second. By the time the van disappeared, the story had already traveled worldwide. Not about fashion, not about airport style, about respect. One exhausted artist, surrounded by chaos, still making room for gratitude. For some, it was inspiring. For others, heartbreaking. For many, both at the same time. But no one could ignore it. So now the question quietly lingers among millions of viewers replaying those bows tonight. How does someone stay that grounded while standing at the peak of global fame? Maybe the answer is simple. Maybe this is just who he has always been. Jungkook turning noise into warmth, pressure into kindness, a crowd into individuals. And perhaps that is why, long after the shouting fades, this image will remain. A deep bow, a tired smile, a heart still open. What did you feel when you saw it? Was it admiration, gratitude, or a sudden urge to protect him even more? Tell us what moved you the most.